The Wizards defeat the Hornets in the Queen City, 100 and 108. Jordan Goodwin with the dub. Jordan Goodwin showed out tonight. He might have got a starting spot. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to review the game. And we're going to talk about a little bit of Johnny Davis at the go-go. So next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again with my guy, the real Ed Oliver. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. And tonight's episode is brought to you by Sweatblock. So, the Wizards get a big win in Charlotte. But, man, the biggest name you see tonight was Jordan Goodwin. And obviously Kuzma and Porzingis did play well, but Jordan Goodwin, man, perfect from the field. 17 points. So, in your eyes, has Jordan Goodwin earned a starting spot over Monte Morris yet?
It's too early to say, but man, he's played really well these last two games. I mean, he's just what the doctor ordered for the Washington Wizards, man. They needed a bulldog on defense, especially with DeLon Wright being out for 6 to 8 weeks. The guy he's played his butt off, seriously. On the offensive side of the ball, the defense side of the ball, he makes the right passes, the right reads. He's rebounding the ball. He's sticking his nose in with a hard hat on. He played football in high school. I interviewed him last summer before he got drafted when the Wizards worked him out. Talked about his football background. If you look up his numbers in college, this guy would get the triple nickels. He would get 5 boards, 5 assists, at least 10 points. The guy, he's a stat sheet stuffer. He can do it all, man. He had some really clutch plays. The beautiful pass to Porzingis down the stretch. He hit a couple mid-range jumpers. The guy didn't miss a shot tonight. I mean, he played really well. For him to be on a 2-way contract, this is the hidden gem that the Wizards have talked about that they've been looking for. They didn't find it in the first round. No disrespect to our first-round picks, but, man, they really found a hidden gem, an undrafted guy that's coming in and really contributing to this team. And, man, if he starts, I wouldn't be mad at it at all. I do think I do want to see more from him, but, honestly, I would start. If I was the coach, I definitely would start him. Definitely, I would have him finish games for sure because the guy, he gets into the paint. We've been asking for that. We've been asking for a point guard to penetrate and get to the paint and get open shots for other guys, and he's been able to do that. He's been able to finish as well. He did it yesterday against Ja Morant. Now he did it against Terry Rozier, who's a darn good guard, who is a Wizards killer. Terry Rozier had a solid game for himself. Terry Rozier struggled tonight, 1 for 9 from the three-point line. Terry Rozier, he got his buckets, but he made it. Jordan Goodwin and other guys made it really tough. Dennis Smith Jr., 1 for 11 from the field tonight. Jordan Goodwin was a part of that, making it tough for Dennis Smith Jr. So I got to tip my cap to Jordan Goodwin. This guy, I want to see more, but honestly, if I were West, I would just ride with a hot hand. If he doesn't start, then he definitely needs to finish, and he finished tonight. He was one of the players that finished the game, and shout out to Jordan Goodwin. I have nothing but good things to say about Jordan Goodwin.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, if he doesn't start, he needs to finish games because his energy is crazy. His energy on the defensive and offensive end is just intoxicating, and it really rubs off on the other players. They don't win this game tonight without Jordan Goodwin, and they don't have that run in the fourth quarter and make it a game last night without Jordan Goodwin. His energy has just been great. This team kind of fell apart a little bit with DeLon Wright going out, and it was kind of surprising because DeLon Wright wasn't really a major signing. But it showed, how these little pieces here and there can be very important to teams, such as the Wizards. Jordan Goodwin coming from the go-go and playing the way he's really is a testament to the Capital City Go-Go, how they're developing people. And, we've had this conversation many times about, the development of the Washington Wizards and how there's been, examples where we didn't do enough. And there's examples like this where, the Go-Go, we mentioned it last night, the Go-Go is not purgatory anymore. It's not, or the G League rather, is not where people go just where their careers to die. No, people are getting playing time and they're developing their games and they're really coming up to the NBA and they're really putting quality minutes in. So like you said, nothing but positive things to say about Jordan Goodwin. I mean, he showed out tonight. It's a little early maybe, but if you look at Morris, on the flip side of the coin, 7 points, very underwhelming, did 5 boards, but you compare to Jordan Goodwin, and 2 assists, We talked about the shot not dropping for Monte. 2 assists for a starting point guard is just, especially with Bill being out. You see a lot more ball movement with this rotation with Bill being out, because obviously Bill has moments where he likes to do ISO, but the offense is more fluid without Bill. So, Monte, he's, as much as Jordan Goodwin is playing himself into the starting role, Monte Morris is playing himself out of the starting role, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Monte, he's a backup. That's what he is. He's a backup guard, and we'll see if the offense is more fluid without Bill. I know they were moving the ball, kind of like the everybody eats thing when John wasn't playing, and everybody was saying that. But the ball was moving, man. Guys were moving. Guys were cutting to the basket. Corey Kispert, he's great at cutting to the basket. Jordan Goodwin did a great job of moving without the basketball. He got a couple easy layups just because he was moving and getting to the basket. Him and Will Barton had a nice duo. He had a nice pass to Anthony Gill, where Anthony Gill finished a layup from Jordan Goodwin from a Jordan Goodwin pass. Guys were just moving without the basketball. That's what we want to see. And guys weren't settling for three-point shots. We know this team is not a good three-point shooting team. They shot 41 threes against the Grizzlies, and then tonight they only shot 19 threes. I'm just saying, hey, you got to get some threes up there to be a threat. But honestly, like I said, our identity, we need to find roles for these players. Jordan Goodwin, he's finding a niche on this team. He's finding a role. Other players are starting to find a role for themselves. We're just not a three-point shooting team. We need to take it to the basket. And Porzingis was taking it to the basket. Kuzma was taking it to the basket down the stretch. Rui was taking it to the basket. We'll talk about some other guys later, but I think Jordan Goodwin, his play was contagious. Like you said, it's contagious to other players when they see somebody working their way up like that. It's contagious, just from a teammate standpoint. So a lot of guys just were thriving off of his energy. So I mean, I'm excited to see more from this young guy, Jordan Goodwin. We'll see if he can continue to start. I know DeLon Wright will be coming back in a couple of weeks. So we'll see. But yeah, Wes, he got some tough decisions to make. And like I said, if he doesn't start, then he definitely should be finishing games for the Washington Wizards for sure. So I thought Monte had some good moments tonight, but he's just not putting pressure on the rim that the Wizards need. And I think Jordan Goodwin was doing a really good job of that. Goodwin had 5 assists, 4 boards, 7 for 7 from the field, 1 for 1 from the 3-point line, was a +10 and a ±. And he had 2 blocks tonight too.
Yeah, I mean, we could say, 1,000 times, and, he showed out tonight. This was, wow. I mean, he didn't miss a shot. I mean, this guy is just, his energy, his attitude. That one rebound I got, I can't remember the quarter.
He got attacked.
Yeah, and I didn't agree with that. I was like, come on, man, let him play, And I think he clapped at the referee or something like that, and they gave him the tech. But, you want to see that attitude. That's the dog we keep talking about, that dog, And I think that one of the commenters, I think it was Drew, that said it, you're not officially in the NBA till you got a T. So, hey, it's official. So, I like what I see. But before we talk about Kuz and Porzingis, tonight's episode is brought to you by Sweatblock. Sweatblock wipes all your little secrets to confidence. The Sweatblock wipes out for up to 7 days per use. Apply them on Sunday and you will just stay dry all week. If you or someone you love is experiencing embarrassing sweat or odor, try Sweatblock. Save 20% with promo code LOCKEDON at sweatblock.com. Also available at Amazon. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. Now, for your second listen, check out Locked On Sports Today podcast. The biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Available on Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. So, moving on to the rest of the guys. I hate to say it like that because, good one, man. Kuz, like you said, 20 points. KP, 19 points, 8 boards, 5 assists. So they played well. They made up for Bill being out, and they played well. I really don't have too much negative to say about those two. Now, getting to the rest of the guys. Denny, 3 points, very underwhelming. His defense was solid, but the 3-point shot is not dropping right now. It's been a struggle lately for him. Kispert, 8 points. He's working his way back into shape. It's understandable. He had some good moments, and then he had a couple shots where he was a little off with the shot, which is understandable. And I don't want to harp on Monte, so go ahead and get to the bench. Barton, 6 points, 6 rebounds. But Rui, he really hasn't had a bad game. And if he hasn't had consecutive bad games. Overall, he's had a great season so far. He's been consistent, scoring around, every game has been around 15 points. He's been solid. And I think he listened to our podcast because a few times he dished the ball out. And I was like, there you go, Rui.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, man. But I like what I see from Rui. We had this discussion whether Kuzma or Rui was the player that you should sign long term. I think both of them have performed well so far this season. Now, Kuz has had bad games where his shot hasn't been dropping, but Rui, I think you got to kind of look at him long term if he continues to perform like this, because he's been a very important piece of this team. The same thing with Goodwin it applies to Rui. We don't win these games that we won without Rui. He's been that pivotal scoring off the bench, and I think that's one good decision that West has made is putting him on the bench and not starting him, because I think he's excelled on the bench role. So, what do you think about his bench role? You think it's going to be successful going forward, or do you see him eventually slide into the starting lineup?
I could definitely see Rui starting at the 3. Rui and Kuz, I think they play well together. You looked at the lineup tonight. I thought our best lineup was Goodwin was out there, Barton was out there, Rui was out there. I want to say Gaff might have been out there at one point, and it was either Kuz or Kispert. I can't remember who was out there, that 5, but I know Rui was out there, and I think they can play together. I think Rui can start at the 4. He started before. He started his rookie year. He started his second year in the league, so I don't see any problem with Rui starting. Rui, man, he's so aggressive. I love how aggressive he is. He had an and one dunk. He had a dunk on a fast break. He had an and one. His mid range was going. He played really well in transition. I love what I saw from Rui tonight. I love the aggressiveness. And like you said, Tommy's got a tough decision to make this offseason, but I love an aggressive Rui. I know, in his defense, he had a clutch block towards the end of the game. It was on Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre, the former Wizard. He was killing the Wizards. He had a couple dunks and some fast breaks. Kelly Oubre looked good, man. He had a good game. He really has improved since his time being in Washington. I'm proud of Kelly Oubre, seeing how much he's improved, because he's came a long way. He certainly has. And Rui to step up. We talked about his defense. For him to come in with a clutch block on Kelly Oubre in the clutch, that was huge from Rui. So Rui, he's played well. He played 26 minutes, and I think somebody last night commented that West usually keeps him around that 25-minute threshold in the minutes per game. 6 for 12, 16 points, 3 boards, no assists. We talked about his playmaking, but plus 10 and plus minus, 2 turnovers. So we just know his identity is scoring, and I think he's found his identity. I keep talking about identity and roles because it was so bad last year with identity and roles. We just had none of that at all. So Rui's a legitimate scorer in this league, man. He has the mid-range game. Didn't shoot any threes tonight. Was 4 for 7 from the free throw line. But he had it going tonight. He was hot. He was hot today, and he was hot last night against Memphis as well.
Yeah, like I said, Rui has played well so far this season. I really can't pinpoint one game where he struggled. So I love what I see from Rui. This is the step forward. This is the steps that I wanted to see from him. Now, his defense, we say it all the time, he's not going to be a 3D guy, but his defense has improved. It has improved. That block, like you said. But, talking about Kelly Oubre, like you said, I'm very proud of him. He was one of my favorite Wizards back in the day, in the John Wall days. I loved his energy. Mm-hmm. And that tomahawk, my God. Yeah. I'm just saying, man.
He dunked on somebody. I don't. Was it Denny that he dunked on? I can't remember who.
Because he rolled onto the rim and he hit that tomahawk, man. I'm like, whoa. So, Kelly Oubre, he's always been a high energy guy, so it's good to see him showing out in the Queen City. But, Rui, time and again, him and Goodwin, and it really begs the question: who played better tonight, the bench or the starting unit?
Who got the defensive belt? We got to talk about that too.
He's just this is the second game in a row where, if you look at the statistics, the bench has played, or in the case of the last game, outplayed the starters. Mm-hmm. And this shows depth. Goodwin's that's a good story coming from the go-go. Just him playing the way he's playing. You could see him starting. Especially because I'm gonna quit harping on Monte, but Monte's got to step up. There's a responsibility with being the starting point guard, especially in DC. We've had some good players, and we went through 10 years of John Wall, which we know John Wall was just an amazing player. Russell Westbrook. There's a standard in DC at point guard, and for some reason we just haven't found the replacement to that standard. But I think he's a step in the right direction, solidifying some consistency at that position. So moving on. Johnny Davis, our favorite commercial guy. You know, he of course he's with the go-go. Well, I think they have him on specific minutes with the go-go, but he traveled with the team to Charlotte. So his second game with the go-go, 23 minutes. He got 17 points, 4 boards, 6 for 7 field goal percentage or field goals, and 3 from the 3-point line. So looking at this performance, I know he just got to the go-go, but if he can consistently put these type of stats up, do you see him kind of working his way back into the rotation for the Wizards?
I don't see him really getting minutes, especially with Jordan Goodwin playing the way he's played. And then DeLon Wright coming back in a couple of weeks, and then Bradley Beal coming back, and then Corey Kispert's here now. So I don't really see minutes for him. I think what's best for him is for him to be in the G League and keep getting that confidence up. And then, get a call up. And if they do need him, I keep saying, I think try him at the last 2 minutes of the first quarter, or the last 2 minutes before halftime, or last 3 minutes before halftime, see how he plays. And then if he plays well, reward him with more playing time. I hate giving a guy some cold. Those are like cold type minutes. You just throwing him minutes. But I love what I saw from him in the game against the Raptors 905. 3 for 3 from the 3-point line. He was just aggressive. I just want to see confidence from him. And he even looked confident on the bench, giving guys high fives. He looked more confident. We talked about the Greenberg and Betterman commercial where you said he didn't even look confident in that. It's just body language. The guy, he just looked like he's been through a lot. We know he just had a kid and whatnot, but he just didn't look confident. Anything he did, he just didn't show any confidence. And he looked very confident in that G League game. And I think just with his mental, he really needs to show confidence. So to answer your question, I still don't see many minutes for him, but I just want to see him develop in the G League. This year, most likely is a redshirt year for him, and then we'll see what he can do next year. But if we get any positive minutes from him, I'll be happy with that this year.
Yeah, I totally agree on all points. I think it's an inspiring performance. It shows with confidence how good of a player you can be. That player they drafted out of Wisconsin, it showed. He played well, and like you said, high fiving people. He's motivated. So you want to see him happy. Motivated. He didn't. I don't think the Betterman commercial really did him any kind of justice. So he kind of made up for it. So no, I'm very inspired. I'm still a big fan of Johnny Davis. I love what I saw from the Go-Go because I watch a lot of Go-Go games. I've been a big fan of Go-Go. Last season they had a really good team. So anybody listening or viewing us, definitely check out the Go-Go because they're a good competitive team. But like you said, I think Johnny Davis, this could be a redshirt year. I think he's going to be with the Go-Go more than he is on the court for the Wizards, and I think that's a good thing. Take time and develop him right. Just take your time, develop him, and really to get the best out of him. So let's get to some comments, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. First one up.
Oh, before we do that, I'm gonna get a quick word in from Bet Online.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you guys don't bet on the Commanders, man, because they definitely let me down this week. But make sure you bet on Jordan Goodwin, man, to get some points. So I would do that. But betonline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer and esports. We've got it all at betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at betonline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. Bet online where the game starts. All right, Brandon, we can hit the comments.
Yes, sir. So this is from Phil Wilson. What's going on, Phil? Goodwin needs to take Monte's, Corey's, and Gill's minutes. I agree on Monte. Now, I think Monte's still going to be the starting point guard going forward. Because with the trade coming over from Denver, there's a lot of investment into Monte being that guy for right now. And then with his familiarity with Wes Unseld, he's not going to go anywhere right now. But I think that he's going to look over his back because Jordan Goodwin is just incredible player. Corey Kispert, maybe. Corey's coming back from an injury, but I think Corey is another one of these young guys that should take a step forward this season, especially on the defensive end. His shot is going to work back into it. And Gill, we say it all the time. Gill is one of those blue-collar players. A lot of what he provides isn't necessarily in a category. He gets those hard rebounds. He's a real tough guy. He's just not the most flashy guy. But, no, I mean, with performances like we've seen these last two games, yeah, you do have to give Goodwin some more minutes because his energy is just alone is valuable to this team. So what do you think, E?
Yeah, I'm echoing what you're saying too. Now, I would say he may cut into Monte's minutes, or it could be Corey too. No, Corey's just getting back in the lineup. A lot of his threes have been short. He needs to get some more arc on the shot, or some more left on his shot. And then Anthony Gill, he's more of he's a rotational player. Like you said, he's a blue collar guy. He's Nick Collison for the Wizards. That's what he is, Mr. Thunder. He plays like that. But Jordan Goodwin, yes, he will be eating into some minutes. He probably will be taking some of Monte Morris's minutes. I do think we need Corey for 3-point shooting, but like I said again, I think our identity is just not 3-point shooting. But we could definitely use Corey's minutes. So I think honestly, if he would take anybody's minutes, it probably would be Monte Morris's minutes, especially when DeLon Wright comes back. I mean, the point guard rotation, you're just not going to be playing that many guys, so you got to shorten that rotation so guys can get a rhythm. And I feel like Jordan Good, if he plays like this, then yeah, it may eat into Monte's minutes. So we'll see. But and then Gil probably will fall in a rotation when Brad comes back and DeLon, and you got to play Jordan Goodwin. Then yes, I probably would see less minutes for Anthony Gill, to be honest with you, between really him and Denny for those minutes at the 3 or 4 spot.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. This is a good one right here. From Mo Will Family. I'm glad they were playing team ball tonight. Like I said before, it does not end with Bill. Love the lineup tonight, and I hope the coach rises group. I agree. The ball movement was key tonight. The ball movement was more fluid. Now, Bradley Bill, he's famous for saying everybody eats John Wall days, which is crazy now because everybody eat now. So, we know how Bradley Bill rolls. He tends to hold on the ball a little bit, but can you entirely make up for his lack of production? No, he's still, a 3-level scorer in this league. And, he struggled a little bit. Yeah. But, he still commands respect, especially from opposing defenses. So, but I mean, team ball looked great tonight. The ball movement was more fluid. So I totally agree.
Definitely. Yeah, they really were. Like I said, they were moving out the ball. Jordan Goodwin made some great cuts to the basket. Kuzma was cutting to the basket in the fourth quarter too. Porzingis was moving out the ball, hit a nice dunk to put the dagger in him at the end of the game. Rui was moving without the ball, so the energy was contagious. The ball movement, the ball was on a string. That's the formula for winning games, and they were moving the ball a little bit more without Bill because they're not just sitting there and watching him and relying on him to score in isolation for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. All right, let's see. Pistol Reg 44 says Goodwin needs to start with his defense and energy and move Bill to the small forward. That'll help the starting 5. I don't know. I have to pump the brakes a little bit there. I don't know about moving Bill to the to the wing, man, because he's the height is not there. And I mean, there are shorter guys who can play the wing. What's that? Dort, Oklahoma City. He's an example of a guy who's shorter who can play the wing, but I don't see him going to the wing. But I agree that Goodwin is just he's been incredible with his energy. His defense has been incredible, and I'm very interested to see him and DeLon when DeLon gets back because their energy and their defense. I mean, and that's why the microscope's on Monte a little bit because look, DeLon is that dude, and Goodwin has played well. So Monte, he's looking over his shoulder a little bit. So I agree, but I wouldn't put Bill on the wing. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't try. I would experiment lineups just to see how it works. But yeah, I don't know if I start him at the wing. It depends on matchups, against who we're playing against, of course, too. But I'm intrigued to see if Goodwin can keep it up and how the rotation goes when DeLon gets back. Mowell family says, I'm not really feeling Denny too much, and I don't remember Kispert at all. I got to see his highlights. Denny had a nice coast-to-coast dunk. I won't forget about that. Now, he struggled from the three-point line today. He was 1 for 2 from the line. Didn't shoot well the last game either, so he is struggling from the field. This is one of those times where he's kind of going through a shooting slump. I mean, he hasn't really had a breakout game offensively this season yet either. He has some really good defensive plays. 3 points tonight, 3 assists, 3 boards. 0 for 3 from the three-point line and 1 for 4 from the field. He just, he's shooting 25% from the three-point line right now, so he's just struggling to hit from the three-point line, and that's going to be his swing skill for him, and he's struggling from the 3, so we'll see if he can get out of this funk and out of this slump.
Yeah, his shot hasn't dropped, and we said it time and time again, we were looking for improvement, especially with him working in the offseason on his shot, but again, he's not a huge offensive guy, like as far as focus from the opposing teams. So if you get points from Denny, is a plus. But you do want to see him kind of take that leap and add more to his offensive repertoire. But I think going forward, his value is defense. There's been a lot of players in this league who've made their money being defensive guys where their shot has kind of came along later. And, Bruce Bowen for, a long time, San Antonio Spur, he was a lockdown guy. And he, if you get it, and I'm not comparing the two because I think that Denny's kind of better offensively to a certain degree. The Dennis Rodman, he was never the, an offensive guy. If you saw Dennis Rodman in the three, it was like, really? So, his forte is defense. So, hopefully his offensive game develops more and kind of shows out as the season goes. So,
he's still working on his left hand. He's still working on finishing around the rim and finishing layups. So he definitely has some improvement areas on the offensive side of the ball.
Absolutely. All right, this comment is from OBJ Datum. I would happily drive Monte Morris back to Denver myself. I mean, I think Monte. I don't know, man. You want to see more, but he's done decent. He's shown who he really is. He's a backup. He's shown his true identity. But I think he's still a good piece of this team. Now, is he a long-term piece? Is you don't know right now. I believe his contract is 2 years, right? So he's here for this year, and then next year he's guaranteed. So he's here for 2 years. So we'll see. I mean, you can't put a price on depth, and your backup guard on a lot of teams, especially contenders, are important players. So I wouldn't necessarily look to get rid of them yet because I think there's a lot of value of having a quarterback on your second unit. And Monte Morris has shown that he can do that. So, but starter, yeah, I mean, as the season goes, especially going towards the deadline, you have to really reevaluate the starting point guard position.
Definitely. All right, we'll just rapid fire, read them, and then wrap up. Reese Cuppin says Goodwin got that dog in him. Goodwin deserves to start. Ben says exactly Johnny needs to stay in the G League to boost his confidence. Looked good in the past couple of G League games. He had 3 blocks as well, so he was playing well defensively too. See the comment from Ben's. Yeah, you guys are hilarious in the comment section. Cameron Hadid says, what's going on with Gafford's minutes? We'll probably talk about that tomorrow. But Gafford got hurt and he came back in. He had 5 points and 7 rebounds. I thought he had a strong game tonight too. And I think Gafford has really improved ever since the moment with Kevin Durant. I think he stepped up and he's played really well off the bench.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. There's a comment right here I want to hit up real quick. There's a couple of them talking about Goodwin got a dog in him. Totally agree. He's got that dog in him. Man, Monte ain't getting love tonight. Let's see, Samurai Jack. We can still move Monte for a back of the house. I mean, I can see why people are a little upset. He was brought in to be that guy. But, just that's been a thing the last 2-3 years, bringing in guys, trying to see if they can start. I think Monte going forward long term, again, he's 6-man or he's that backup point guard, in my opinion. But,
Yeah, we'll see. He's Wes's guy. Him and Wes they have a father-son relationship. They have a really good. They talked about the Wizards away this offseason. I heard they traveled together and they sat next to each other on planes and whatnot. So they're really good friends, good buddies. The Denver connection. So we'll see. I mean, Monte had a clutch basket towards the end of the game too. He had a really tough layup. So I thought Monte had a solid game, but I just think that other guys like DeLon Wright, Jordan Goodwin, I think they're just better suited for what this team needs at the point guard position. I think they really need a guy that can get into the paint and that can defend. So yeah, we'll wrap up. Mo Will family says I believe Denny's a good defensive player, but there are players that can play both defense and offense. Yeah, we just need him to come along on the offense side of the ball. So we're looking for improvement from him on the offense side of the ball.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. But like I said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up tonight. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. The biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Available on Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. But before we roll, who is your player of the game and who is your defensive belt tonight?
Jordan Goodwin both ways. Both. I'm giving it to Jordan Goodwin. He deserves it. He earned it. Career high 17 points. I hope he got the belt.
Absolutely. Hey, easy one that. Yeah, he showed out tonight. He gets to play the game, defense play the game. So again, appreciate everybody staying, talking with us. And again, Appreciate you guys staying up. Definitely check me and my guy, the real Ed Oliver, on Twitter and Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube. And everybody have a good night and peace.